Now, one way to be able to finalize and create your coffee business concept is to identify who would be your target market or the people that you would be serving. Once you have identified this, all the decision making in your cafe would be a lot easier. Now, I shared in this video here small coffee business ideas, and the way I classify them is based on the size. For today's video naman, I would also be sharing small coffee business ideas, but this time focusing on who is the market. So if you have those, classifying them as to the size of your cafe and also who would be your target market, it would now be a lot easier to finalize your coffee business concept. So for today's video, I'm going to be tackling on those different small coffee business ideas as to the market that you'd be serving, the pros and the cons, and also make sure to watch until the end because I would also be telling you on how you can choose for your own cafe. So if you're interested, then keep on watching. So first type of cafe ideas based on the type of market would be what I call productivity cafes. So when you say productivity cafes, your market is there for them to be productive. So it could be either a study cafe, a co-working space cafe, wherein your market is actually staying long in your cafe. With that, there are implications and there could be pros and cons, of course. You need to provide them enough tables and chairs. You need to provide them Wi-Fi and also power sockets for their gadgets, for their laptops, and for their charging of their cell phones. And that can have implication in your electricity bill. Moreover, you should also have food items to serve, no? Because again, they're staying longer there, so they should have something to eat as well. So with this type of cafe, basically you would need a bigger space. And also, you have to prepare with your overhead a bit kasi medyo malaki talaga siya. And also your capital kasi nga you'll have food items, you'll have dine-in. So that would have implication in your capital. I discussed here what is the estimated capital for a starting a cafe. You might want to see this video. The challenge also with this cafe is you have to know what is your seating capacity and also identify your monthly overhead so you would know your cost per seat. So magkano ba yung dapat na presyo mo for the seat of your cafe or perhaps on your pricing of your products and services para naman hindi ka lugi with your cafe. Kasi nga, people would be staying longer in your cafe. So one good example is our own cafe, the Mezzanine Cafe here in Cebu. So we are basically a learning cafe. We provide space for people to study and work. So if you're in Cebu, you might want to visit, guys, our cafe. And if I'm there, please say hi so I could also say hi to you. Next type of cafe, according to market, would be what I call meeting place cafe. So basically, the target market of this cafe are the neighborhood or nearby places wherein it's convenient for people to meet for hanging out or perhaps for official purposes. So usually this type of cafe should be placed in a location wherein it's convenient for them to meet. So it could be in a mall, it could be in an entertainment area, it could also be in a village or in a neighborhood wherein it's a lot easier to meet with people within that particular town or barangay. And mostly the market that goes to your cafe are just there to hang out for quite some time, perhaps to chit chat and do some catching up or perhaps meeting for professional purposes. So if you come to think of that, you should have in your cafe food and drinks that would be best or meetings with clients or whatsoever. So with this, you would also need a dining space. You would need dining wares for dine-in customers. So basically, your aim here is to make it convenient for the nearby areas for them to meet if this is your type of cafe. So one good example is one of my students' cafe, Rural Cafe in Barili. So it's a town in South Cebu. So it's near schools. It's also near residences, and mostly people go there basically to hang out with friends and also to catch up and perhaps do some meetings as well. Another type of cafe as to market would be what I call to-go cafes. So when you say to-go cafes, mostly your products are for takeout or for to go. So basically, you don't have space for dine-in or if meron man, medyo maliit lang or it would be purely al fresco. And your target market here would be perhaps nearby schools, malls, or churches, or even terminals. So with that, you don't have to provide dining space. no? So you would also be saving a lot with regards to your investment kasi nga medyo wala kang masyadong maraming food and you would not have dining wares. However, with this type of market, there is really a potential na marami kang cups per day. So perhaps you just have to check, no, with your traffic. Maybe you would be needing a bigger espresso machine that would be able to accommodate those number of cups per day. Kasi nga, to go ka. And usually, it's in a place na medyo busy. Airports, terminals, etc. So, the implications lang with this type of cafe is make sure if to go ka, make sure that you put it in a space na talagang maraming foot traffic. Kasi, baka your cafe is just pure to go and the market in that specific area does not buy coffee or walang bumibili ng coffee kasi nga walang tao, you will have a hard time. Next one would be special themed cafes. So the market with this type of cafe is actually those who are needing a specific service, tapos yung cafe or the coffee and the food is already secondary na lang or for convenience. So what do I mean by this? So for example, salon cafe. So you're a salon primarily, tapos you're providing salon services, and then you would be providing na lang din coffee and food for your customers. So the coffee and food there is really for convenience. Another also type of special themed cafes is, let's say you are focusing on, let's say, Hello Kitty. So the theme of the cafe is Hello Kitty, halos lahat Hello Kitty. So basically your market are the people who would love Hello Kitty. May that be Harry Potter or any other types of themes. So the implications lang with this type of cafe is to make sure na whatever theme you have chosen or whatever service na you are pairing with coffee, make sure you do it really well kasi that would make you stand out also. What's also nice with this type of cafe is you would also have another revenue model or revenue stream aside from the sales of your coffee or your food. That would be service if ganon, like salons or laundry. And then that would also be merchandise for those na, let's say, Hello Kitty theme, Harry Potter theme, or whatsoever. One good example is a cafe of my student here in Cebu, Cuts and Brews, PH. So basically, they're a salon, but they're also serving coffee and drinks. So they have a barista and also their salon specialist. Ano bang tawag doon? They have barbers and also nagpwedeng mag-manicure, pedicure, and then while drinking coffee. Next would be specialty cafe. So, sino ba ang market with these types of cafe? That would be coffee enthusiasts or those that are really coffee lovers and are looking for different varieties of coffee. So, implications with this type of cafe, pwede siyang for with dine-in or purely for takeout. But it would also be ideal na meron talaga siyang space na pwedeng magtambay and they can also really enjoy their cup of coffee. So, usually what you would be selling here and the implication lang is make sure all your baristas are really well-versed with regards coffee science. So, they can also explain that, no, to the customers. And also, you should have varieties in your coffee beans. And with having different coffee beans, it would actually mean that you should have different grinders. So that could have an implication also in your cost. Also, for this type of cafe, since coffee enthusiasts and coffee aficionados yung market mo, what could be nice is also you would be selling perhaps mga brewing tools, no? And you can also do some workshops for your customers. Also, mostly what I see in specialty cafes, that the market are really coffee enthusiasts, coffee aficionados, or even they're also selling to small cafes their beans, is usually meron silang coffee roaster in their cafe. So they roast their own coffee as well. Now, looking back on all those mentioned as to the type of small cafes, as to the market, that would be productivity cafes, we have meeting place cafe, we have to-go cafe, special theme cafe, and also specialty cafes. Question now is how would you choose for your own coffee business? So for me, one, you should check saan ba yung location ng plano mo na cafe. So if it is somewhere that has high foot traffic, and hindi necessary na yung mga people there are basically looking for a space to really sit down, you can go with a to-go type of cafe. Or if you're in an area wherein there are a lot of business establishments and your cafe could be a place for them to meet, then that could be a meeting place cafe, or even you can have your cafe as a productivity cafe. Another thing that you should consider also in choosing is the physical setup. So, aside from location, you should also check gaano ba kalaki or kaliit yung space. Kasi if you would have a, let's say, special themed cafe, tapos maliit lang pala yung space, baka hindi masyadong mapansin yung theme pala in your cafe, no? Or perhaps if it's a productivity cafe and then there's only small space for them to study or work, baka hindi siya magja-jive. So again, after identifying on perhaps what type of cafe as to the size, you would also now identify what type of cafe as to the market. So always look at sino ba yung plano mo na bentahan ng mga kape mo or yung service nyo sa cafe, so that it would be a lot easier to decide for your coffee business concept. Gaano ka-importante yung coffee business concept? It basically helps you stand out. And I always tell this to my students in my Coffee Business Academy na when we sell coffee, we have a lot of competitors, no? And our major challenge talaga is how can we convince people to buy from us, no? And what makes us stand out. And that is creating or identifying your coffee business concept. I discuss more of that in my online academy or my mentorship program. If you're interested, here's a link here. Hope you can join us and also join us in our monthly group consultation calls. You would also have access to consultation forms wherein I can help you finalize your coffee business concept. Hope this video helps. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in this video here where there are videos about coffee business.